It's always exciting when entertainment leaves a mark on you. Whether it tells a story in such a unique way that you'll never forget it, allows you to do something that you've never been able to do before, see something you've never seen. The really interesting moments in life are when you're experiencing something and you know that from this moment on, nothing will be the same. I think of walking into the first Avatar movie in a movie theater and seeing it in 3D and realizing that this was a technology that can change things. Or maybe playing Final Fantasy VII for the very first time and noticing that, 3D tech means that this industry, this medium that I love so much, is going to change. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is that change. It is the evolution of the traditional video game platform experience now turned into an interactive Pixar movie. It's a roller coaster of entertainment while still providing that traditional pick up and play experience that made us all fall in love with video games to begin with. It really is the zenith of what we expect in these sorts of games, and I think it will be a game that we remember looking back on and saying, okay, from this moment on, no games like this can exist unless they meet the Ratchet & Clank benchmark. And it's exciting to know that we get to experience that now with new innovations like the PS5 that bring us this sort of experience.
Give a big welcome to the Grand Marshals of our parade, Ratchet and Clank! I, Captain Copernicus Leslie Quad, will be your host.
I don't want to take up too much of your time here because I will have more footage and coverage of this new Ratchet & Clank game later in the week. Basically, when I say it looks and feels like an interactive Pixar movie, I mean that in every sense of the word. Whether playing as Ratchet or the new character Rivet, you just flow seamlessly within these environments, never seeming like you're out of place by the different choices that you're making, for the environment seems to react to the frenetic pace that this character has. You can jump and phase and move in really interesting ways. It never breaks that mold that you kind of need for games to still look visually interesting. I think this might be one of the best games to watch out there that you can get, and I think that's a good thing since this is a PS5 exclusive and those are very difficult to get. I don't know if a game like this could work on the PlayStation 4 because it requires this new level of technology, the true next generation that has been touted with the purchase of a PS5, where so many things are happening on the screen. When you get into the combat, there's dozens of different weapons that Ratchet or Rivet can use. The screen is always flourishing with explosions and movement. The background has interesting things that are happening, and the foreground will explode in front of you, change in these big cacophonies of colors. It's what you see in Pixar movies, but now you are in control. In many ways, I feel like it's even better than Insomniac's other flagship franchise, Spider-Man, by a long shot. It's very similar in you have these major set pieces that you interact with that you're kind of on the rails. It's a bit of a roller coaster, but they're fun and exciting. And then in Spider-Man's case, you're just kicked into the open world. Ratchet & Clank, you are then guided into these smaller sub-areas that aren't as wide, but are much more focused, allowing for much more consideration for things that are wacky and vibrant. It never stays too long in each section to bore you, but there's still enough impact with the different worlds that you're exploring that you want to know more. Overall, I probably spent up to 20 hours with the game, completing nearly everything, collecting nearly everything available. There are some gripes in this regard when you are trying to complete it fully. There is significant backtracking that I think does disrupt the flow, but that's again not something that takes away from the overall experience. They try to do a lot of things to make searching for these collectibles after you've done a main mission in an area still work, but I did wish they had more of that.
This is unfortunate.
You okay, Bolts?
You came after me. Thank you.
The story itself, although it is absolutely catered to an all-ages audience, is still funny and interesting and takes you to places that you didn't expect. One of the new mechanics that's introduced in the series that really is a flagship for innovation in this game is the idea of rifts, interdimensional rifts that happen within the game. Basically, your character is able to interact with them and switch in real time between these different dimensions. It's a huge part of the game, and it just adds to this feeling of magnetism, of power, that this game will let you do so much. Like there's this one moment pretty early on where you are gliding and grinding on different rails, trying to avoid interstellar explosions while moving in between different dimensions to save the universe. Like, it's everything you want in a game like this that's still fun, still easy to use, and so often I'm taken aback at how good it looks. There are three main visual modes you can go with. Fidelity, which is the normal mode, Performance, and Performance RT that gives you full 4K with 60 frames. The new Performance mode I did have some difficulty with. It's very new, but seeing it was just unbelievable. Even on Fidelity, if you have the different tech to support it, it just looks absolutely incredible. The story itself, like I said, is pretty compelling. It ends in some very strong emotional ways that I wasn't expecting. It's very in line with what Insomniac has done before with Spider-Man, but this game, the thing you're really going to take away from it is what you can do and what it shows you. It really is an indicator of where our industry is going, where games like this can go. Like, I fell in love with games really in the era of Ratchet and Clank. That really introduced me to this sort of feedback loop that I really liked. And to see it now brought to a new evolutionary state where it looks and feels like an interactive movie that is 20 hours long, that, you know, never really stops giving you what you need, is a really powerful experience. So I'm really excited for what everyone is going to think and feel about a game like this, even if it's something that you normally wouldn't play. Like right now, at my age, I normally wouldn't play this. I spend my time doing a deep voice and trying to talk about Resident Evil lore. But this game, if you have a PS5, there's literally no reason to own a PS5 and not have this experience. And end of the day, it's really nice to get excited about something that isn't transgressive, that deals with the inner workings of our political system and the humanity within us all, but to see something you fell in love with brought to the height of its capabilities and then pushed a little bit further. There is no reason not to play this game, and I think really we'll be looking back at this and saying, oh, remember what Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart did? Now every other game needs to do something similar.